Good morning, stock traders, and welcome back to Stock Traders Talk Radio. I'm your host, Stock Sumo. Thanks for joining us on another totally tubular Taco Thursday. Today's September 13th, 2012. And we have another exciting stock spotlight lined up for you today. Boy, it's been a jam-packed week here at STT Radio, and doing today's stock spotlight is Haas. Haas, what's happening, man?
Not a whole lot, Stock Sumo. We've had a super busy week here at STT Radio. Lots of good interviews so far this week. And other than that, I've just kind of been hanging out and getting some work done. How are you doing, my man?
I'm doing very well, very well. Looking forward to wrapping another strong week up. Man, it just gets busier and busier for us, and we're in the thick of it right now. Being back from summer, I'm excited for these next couple of months. I think it's just going to get better and better.
Yeah, you can definitely see the dollar volumes rolling into the markets just within the last couple of weeks here. So it's fun to see. I'm excited for the fall as well.
Good stuff. So what do you got on tap for us today, boss?
All right. Well, we have a stock spotlight this morning. Stock ticker is PNGM. Pengram Corporation, gold mining company. I should say a gold exploration company. The stock has been in the chat rooms and different types of social networks for the course about the last week here. Lots of different groups mentioning the company, putting out some nice research reports. So we figured we'd jump on the bandwagon and just cover the company a little bit and see what we got cooking with Pengram Corporation. So just a brief little description of some of the properties that they've been involved with over the last couple of years here on their website, which is www.pengramgold.com. Pengram Corporation, an advanced gold exploration company, searching the globe for outstanding gold properties. Our strategy is to evaluate and acquire properties where previous work has been conducted and have yielded positive results for the presence of gold. Pengram currently has a broad portfolio of strategic gold properties, including one in British Columbia, which is the Clisbaco property up in Canada, and also 3 properties in Nevada: the Fish Project, the Golden Snow Project, and also the CPG Project. Our objective is to explore these properties either directly or through joint venture partners. And the company is led by a management team with an exceptional track record. And actually, that's what I want to go to next. A lot of times with mining companies, one of the first things that I want to go and look for is their management personnel. If you have management with a really strong background in the mining sector, it's probably going to be more likely that they're actually going to structure the company and acquire some properties that can potentially go into the development and production phases successfully. And a lot of the Canadian miners and Canadian mining companies are actually just a couple of guys with a shovel. So you got to be really careful, and that's why I always go and look for the management team, almost invariably right out of the gates when I'm looking at a mining company. So 2 main management personnel here. We have Richard W. Donaldson, is Chief Executive Officer, Chief Financial Officer, President, Secretary. He looks like he's got a pretty strong background as a business consultant and dealing with different types of mergers and acquisitions for over 25 years, as we can see in the description here. But the key thing you want to note is most of this business consulting work has been with different types of mining companies. So he does have a pretty strong background in the mining sector itself. But the main management personnel that I'm looking at is Mr. Howard Metzler, a pretty well-known name in the mining world, actually. Effective April 21st, 2011, Mr. Howard Metzler was appointed as a director of Pengram Corporation. Mr. Metzler obtained his Bachelor of Science in Geology from Boise State University in '76 and has been registered with the Idaho State Board of Registration for Professional Geologists since 1981. Mr. Metzler has over 30 years of experience in exploration geology, primarily on high-grade vein and disseminated gold-silver deposits in northern Nevada. Perfect for this company considering they have 3 properties in the Nevada area that they're currently exploring. For the past 20 years, he has been self-employed as a consulting geologist. Other recent experience includes 3 years exploration and development of exotic copper and VMS deposits in northern Arizona. He's also done some tungsten and uranium exploration elsewhere in the United States. So definitely a pretty solid management team for a company of this size trading on the smaller exchanges. So pretty happy with the management. Let's just roll over to the properties on their website here. The first one, the Klizbako property up in Canada. And there's actually a NI National Instrument 43101 report that came out a long time ago. I haven't been able to find a way to open it yet. It's older from previous exploration on the property. And anytime you're looking at a mining company, you're always looking for them to eventually, following significant exploration, put out that National Instrument 43101 report. Basically solidifies the data and different types of exploration results that these companies are doing. So the Klizbako property, located up in Canada in the Caribou Mining Division. I'm not going to go over all of this, and I'm not going to go over all the other properties. There's just way too much detail, and frankly, I'm not a mining expert when it comes to all the fancy mining terms and whatnot. But you can go check out this on their website. Lots of good information about location, access, climate, physiography. Anytime you have a mine, and if you plan to put it into development and eventually production, you want it in a location where it's accessible, so you don't have to build, 100 miles worth of road to actually be able to build a mine to truck your, deposit in and out. Because otherwise it's going to cost way too much to develop, and your feasibility study is just going to look like crap. Regional geology, you can go check that out. Property geology, mineralization. Let's just suffice it to say that the previous exploration work that's been done on the property provided significant enough results to continue exploration to this point. So in other words, they found gold, they found silver, and they found it in significant amounts to continue the exploration. But you can go read the fancy details yourself. But a key thing here that I'm taking note of is just the different phases of exploration that they were planning. This is from back in 2008 or 9 when they wrote it up. Phase 1 is going to cost about $122,000. Phase 2, $152,000. Phase 3, which is the most intense drilling stage, diamond drilling on selected targets, is about $523,000. So it gets a bit more expensive once you roll into the more intense exploration phases. And keep in mind, it's kind of like a hit or miss type thing. So you start your exploration pretty mildly. You dig a couple of holes, and if the geology notes that you should continue exploration, then you kind of do more intense drilling around the areas where you saw the highest gold mineralization in stage 1. So I'm not sure exactly where they're at as far as the stage in exploring these properties. The last details that we really got were from back in early 2011. They filed a 1512G, so they haven't been doing their filings or keeping them current. But we'll talk about that a little later. But as far as the property history goes on this Klizbako property, different companies have been exploring this property over the course of the last, 10, 20, 30 years. So you can go read the details on that. But that's enough on the Klizbako property. As far as the Nevada properties go, we have the Golden Snow Project. Significant gold and silver mineralization. Property located in Eureka County, Nevada, situated near several existing gold mines. Another key thing when you're looking at these smaller mining companies is, where is it located? Are there some big boys next to them, like a Kinross Gold or something like that? 8 miles north of the Golden Snow Project is the East Archimedes Gold Mine, where Barrick Gold Corporation, very well-known gold producer, Giant, is currently mining a Carlin-type sediment-hosted gold deposit. So the rest of this just basically states that, they're in the phase 1 drilling program that they're about to begin. And, the initial samples have shown that, they have some gold and silver there. So we'll look for future results on this property. But a key note is that Barrick Gold Corporation has a property where they've been producing gold for a little while now. Other Nevada property, we got the Fish Project, located in the Walker Lane Mineral Belt, also in Nevada, 12 miles west of the historic mining town of Tonopah, Nevada. Project consists of 58 unpatented lode mining claims, or 1.9 square miles. They have some initial sample results down here as well as part of the phase 1 drilling program, also a gold-related property, silver-related property. And the last one, the CPG project, also in the Walker Lane Mineral Belt in Mineral County, Nevada. We have 44 unpatented lode mining claims, also in the phase 1 stage, and also some initial sample results down here, warranting further exploration. Looks like also have a copper gold molybdenum prospect down here. That's just a different type of gold deposit. You find these minerals together quite often. I think that's all I wanted to go over as far as the actual website goes. Make sure if you're a big mining buff, you go and read all the fancy details. I'm not going to, especially with the limited time that we have on the show here. But let's roll over and get some stock information. So just rolling over to Pink Sheets here. First thing I want to take note of is that we have an over-the-counter pink no information sign. They filed a 1512G filing, basically stopping reporting not too long ago. Back in late 2011, actually it might have been in early 2012. We'll check in a little bit. But I want to go over some of this stuff first. So clearly the transparency needs to improve a little bit. That's one negative note out of the gates here. Shares outstanding, 58 million shares as of March 10th, 2011. And we don't have a more updated share structure than that because they haven't been pumping their filings out. But provided that share structure is similar to what it was back in early 2011, we're looking at a market cap of about $4.369 million as of the close of 7.5 cents yesterday. Okay, let's just roll over to the 10Q. If you don't mind, we always like to look through the 10Qs, get some information on assets, liabilities, revenues. This is an early stage exploration mining company, so clearly we're not going to have any revenues yet. But just rolling over the balance sheet here, we see assets, cash on hand, $650 in early 2011. Not necessarily the greatest thing when you're looking at a mining company that needs a lot of exploration funds. But anyways, we have mineral property acquisition costs and long-term investments. That's going to be the majority of your assets right there. We're looking at about $400,000 worth of assets, or what they've actually put into these properties to acquire interests in these properties. A lot of the process of acquiring properties in the mining world involves performing a certain dollar volume of exploration work. So you can acquire up to 100% interest in a property by expending, $3 million in exploration costs over the course of, 3 years or something like that. And that's how a lot of these joint venture partnerships work as well. And that's exactly what Pengram is doing with some of their properties. They have basically joint ventured with other teams that are performing the exploration work on their properties, or at least were back in 2011. We need an update on their actual property exploration as of now. But that's how a lot of these property exploration joint ventures work. So just keep that in the back of your head. There's other people exploring their properties, expending that and shelling money to Pengram to acquire their 50 or 75% interest in their properties. Anyway, moving on. Liabilities. Liabilities, we got a junior exploration mining company. You're going to have lots of convertible notes and warrants, and just raising funds throughout the course of the last few years to be able to explore these properties, and keep their property interests up to date. Anytime you stop exploring a property and you're not a full owner yet, and your time to actually own the property is ended, you can basically lose the property just because you're not exploring it anymore, or you don't give your little $5,000 or $10,000 fee to the proper authorities. So you got to be careful with that. Just scrolling down on here, share structure, I'm not even going to go over. I don't know what it is currently. The last one we know of was about 58 million shares outstanding. Scrolling down to revenues, expenses. Obviously, we're not going to have any revenues because this is a company that's just doing exploration work right now. No revenues coming in. Expenses, just various expenses related to keeping their interest in the property and whatnot. Looking at about $500,000. The quarter ended August 31st, 2011. Don't need to go over the rest of that. Don't need to go over the rest of that. All right, that's about all I want to go over for the 10Q, to tell you the truth. Most of the rest of that is going to go in detail on the actual properties that they own, and we kind of did that on the website already a little bit, given that brief history. But just a key thing to keep in mind, these smaller mining companies, they're obviously very cash strapped. Every once in a while, you'll get a big boy to come in and, give them, $5 million to, explore their properties. And that's what we'd be looking for in the near future for Pengram. Bringing in a huge joint venture partner so they don't have to worry about raising, another $1 million via convertible notes every 3 months or something like that once they get into the more intense phases of their exploration programs. But one thing I do want to do is check out some of the recent news that they've been putting out. On September 11th, 2012, just a couple of days back on Tuesday, they put out some news based on raising some money to retire some debt. So let's just go over this briefly. Pengram Corporation announced that its board of directors have approved a private placement offering of up to $1 million of 5,000 denomination 10% unsecured notes due November 30th, 2016. The purpose is to retire the current liabilities of the company and to raise funds for the acquisition and exploration of mineral properties and for general corporate purposes without diluting the current shareholders. All right, so these are basically going to be restricted preferred shares. It's private placement. They're looking to raise $1 million to get rid of the convertible notes and warrants that are kind of sitting out there in some of the creditors' hands right now to basically clean the balance sheet up a little bit. So this is actually a very significant step for Pengram Corporation. I'm looking at it as a very positive thing with where this mining company is at right now. And it's basically the first press release of significance that they've put out since 2011. So another note with this particular press release is that they're likely going to be putting out a lot more news in the very, very near future related to their properties and their exploration work. So I would expect more news on this company, especially with some of the awareness that we've been seeing in the markets lately. But also, just the anti-dilution measure with this, getting rid of the toxic stuff, which is really nice to see. And then there's a couple other press releases from actually back in 2011 that you might want to go check out, just related to a couple of their projects, different types of payments that they need to make on an annual basis on some of these properties, and also just some of their joint venture agreements on some of these properties. Pengram executes separate option agreements on its 3 Nevada portfolio properties, JVs, its Golden Snow property for $175,000. And this is kind of that JV structure that I was talking about. The company has successfully completed a joint venture agreement for Golden Snow, which provides for the JV partner to pay Pengram $175,000 in staged payments and spend $1.75 million in exploration expenditures over 39 months to earn up to 75% of the project, with Pengram obviously keeping the other 25%. So that's kind of how they're looking to structure the exploration work on their properties. They just keep, a quarter of the property, and they don't have to do any of the work. And, this whatever this particular JV partner is, shelling them $175,000 and also doing all the exploration work for them. So that's the benefit of owning 100% interest in some of these properties, with all these other teams rolling around looking to explore. But as far as all the details of the properties go, make sure you go read about those. All of them are basically in the phase 1 exploration stages. That Klizbako property might actually be in a later stage. That's the one that had the National Instrument 43101 report out, which I actually have to go through yet. I'm trying to pull it up on my computer. Been having some issues with that. But early stage mining company, definitely going to need money along the road here. They just put out some news related to raising $1 million, but it looks like they're doing it in a rather non-toxic way. And if they continue to do that in the future, and if they start talking a little bit, updating pink sheets, getting some filings out so we can get a better idea of the share structure and the current direction of the company, then we'll have a little bit more to talk about. But for the most part, they've been pretty quiet over the course of the last year or so. It's really tough to gauge where they're at as far as exploring their properties on these different types of joint ventures and whatnot. But let's just roll over to Didi Amanda before we pull up a chart. We can see that stock was really quiet. March 26th is what mine goes back to on Didi Amanda here. You can see that basically $0 volume up until early August. Early August, we see the dollar volume start to increase slowly at first, a couple of bigger days, and then just within the last few days here, we see that we've had the dollar volume increase quite a bit with some of the awareness that's going on. But the share price was sitting silent down at that 2-cent area, moved up pretty quick to that nickel area around 5 cents. And it's kind of been hanging out in that 5 to 10 cent area over the course of the last few weeks. But don't let me babble about the chart. Stock Sumo, are you here? Give me a sweet chart, my man.
All right, I'm ready. Yeah, I like this chart. You can see early on in the year, I just got a 3-month chart. July, August, this stock was fairly stagnant, not much volume coming in, and it was flatline here, and then all of a sudden you've seen it break above the moving averages. We love seeing it break above the moving averages. Back here, right in the beginning of August, you broke through the 100-day moving average, and the stock made a nice climb ever since then. And notice it's been holding above the 20-day moving average as support, and it's been holding higher lows. This one down day after it topped out at 9 cents, it pulled back a little bit, looks like to about 5.5 cents, bounced off of that, and it's been bouncing off of higher lows. Low right here was 6 cents. Look at the low right here. Looks like it's about 6.068 or 7 cents right there. So I like seeing it hold above the 20-day moving average as support. That's going to be our key level of support. We got the 20-day sitting at 8 cents. So we've seen the recent volume increase. You got the RSI that's starting to turn down a little bit. I'd like to see this RSI curl back up. I want to see it hold above the 50 line. It's not quite holding the 50-day moving average, so I'd like to see this hold at least the 50 line and curl back up and have that RSI get above that 50 MA low overlay and get back in the power zone. Notice it held the power zone the majority of August and even some of September. So even though the RSI pulled back off of the power zone right here, it bounced and went right back in the power zone. So we'd like to see that happen again here. That'll be a good sign. We got the PPO looking for a possible crossover here soon. It tried right here. These lines started to pinch a bit, but now they're starting to separate again. So I'd like to see this PPO curl up, and I'd like to see this crossover. As long as it holds above this 50 MA overlay, though, that'll be a good sign. I'd like to see the blue bars on the histogram flip over to the top side. That'll be a bullish sign. And I'd like to see this slow stow hold above the 50 MA overlay. So all the indicators, they're looking like they could hold above these 50 MA overlay. That'll be the key level of support. and I want to see the stock hold above the 20-day moving average, which is sitting at 8 cents. If it doesn't hold that 8 cents, it could see a pullback down to the next moving average, which is the 50-day at 4 cents. That's going to be our next level of support. And you have key resistance at the previous high, which is going to be 10 cents. So, good looking chart there.
Great, man. Yeah, it's just we have a junior mining company. Of course, they're going to have to raise funds. Of course, their books aren't going to look perfect. And keep in mind as they explore their properties further and upgrade their mineral resources, from the inferred to indicated and actually stages, the value of the company is going to go up dramatically. So I like what they got going on here. I like the management team. And with the press that just came out yesterday, they're ready to start talking again. So hopefully we can get an update on their properties. That's what we'll be looking for.
All right. Well, great spotlight, Haas. Good stuff. I want to thank all the listeners for tuning in and checking out the show. Had a couple of new guys hit me up in private message. Thanks for coming, guys. Hope to have you back. And we'll see you tomorrow.
All right. STT Radio. Have a safe trading day, folks. We're out.
Thank you for listening to Stock Traders Talk Radio. All views and topics talked about on Stock Traders Talk Radio is solely for entertainment purposes. We are not professional financial advisors and always recommend you seek the advice of a